Hi everyone, welcome back to the style creation workshop for Korg PA series arranges. We are in the 5th video now. This video is about creating multiple time signatures in the same style. The keyboard doesn't give an option by default to create different time signatures for each element in the style. There will be one common time signature for the entire style, but there is a workaround to create different time signatures. Let's go to the style record mode, press the record button, select new. We are going to create a new style from scratch here. Keep the default time signature, which is 4/4, and the tempo as 120. We'll create a pattern in 4/4 time signature in variation 1. This is straightforward since it is the same time signature of the style. I'm creating only the drum patterns here. Let us set the resolution here and turn on the metronome. Record the percussion track with a hi-hat pattern. Selecting the sound for the track. Now press start and record the pattern. That is ready. Let's record the drum track. Selecting the sound. This is a custom kit I have created. The pattern is ready now. I'm not recording the other tracks. Let's now go to the variation 2. I'll copy the sound selections from variation 1 to all the elements to avoid selecting them every time. Now we are going to record a 3/4 pattern here in variation 2. If you have noticed the time signature is still 4/4, what we are going to do is fit a 3/4 pattern into the 4/4 timing. Now turn off the metronome and set the resolution to high. The quantize feature will not work in this situation. In the percussion track, enter 3 hi-hat notes. The timing doesn't matter. Press start. You will get a pre-record counter in 4/4. Add the notes after that. We have the notes here, but the timing is not correct. To correct those, go to the event edit mode. Press the menu button and select the event edit. Here we can see the notes we entered. If you notice here, one full note has a length of 384 points. Since this is a 4/4 time signature, the total length of the bar will be 1536 points, which is 384 into 4. What we need here is to fit the 3/4 pattern in this length. So if you divide 1536 by 3, it will be 512 points. So if we position the notes with 512 points interval between each of them, the pattern will become a 3/4 exactly. This is how we are going to position the notes. Each note will have an equal gap between them. Let us see where to position them here. The first note will always be at the starting of the first beat, which is 1.1.000. The next position will be 512 points from here. So it will be somewhere between the beat 2 and 3. We know that one full beat is 384 points. So 512 minus 384 is 128, and that means it is 1.2.128. The next note is to be positioned after 512 points from 1.2.128, and it will be 1.3.256. It will be easy if you do the calculation and write it on a paper. You may need these values for each track to position the notes because you cannot quantize the notes here. Let us now set the notes positions. Now the timing is correct and it is now a 3/4 pattern. What we have now is a fake metronome in 3/4 while we are in the 4/4 time signature. Now let's close this page. We can now record a pattern in the drum track. When we start, it will give a 4/4 pre-record pattern, but after that it will be a 3/4 timer in the percussion track. Press start and wait till you are comfortable with the 3/4 timer and then record the pattern. Now that is complete. Let's go to the event edit page and correct the notes positions there. When you record a pattern in this mode, there is a high chance that the first note will sit at the end of the last beat. But when the pattern plays in loop, it will sound like it is at the starting of the bar. This is because we are not using the resolution and the original metronome here. If this happens, change the note's position to the starting of the bar. Now the pattern is ready. Let's preview the recordings. Go to the element track controls to preview. Now the variation 1 is in 4/4 and the variation 2 is in 3/4. But we still have a problem here. The tempo in variation 2 is kind of slow, but there is an option to fix it. In the event edit page, there is a special track called master. Select the master track. This is a special track with some special events for the style. There are two events here, the time signature and the tempo. We can add another tempo event here, which will be specific to only this element. Press insert. This will insert a new tempo event. This is the only event type you can enter here. Set the tempo to 160 here. Make sure the event is at the starting of the first beat. Now when this element is selected, the tempo will be reset to 160. You can set any value you want. I just calculated this to match the speed of the pattern in variation 1. It is calculated using this formula. Let's preview it now. Now the tempo change is happening in variation 2. In variation 1 it has the original tempo, which is 120, and in variation 2 it is 160. This tempo event feature can be used in endings to create a retardando effect. You may need to add multiple tempo events there. Now we will create a 7/8 pattern in variation 3. Insert 7 hi-hat notes in the percussion track. Now go to the event edit page to adjust the notes position to fix the timing. Here the calculation will be different than the previous one. We need to have 7 equal distance notes in this bar. So the total length 1536 divided by 7 will be 219.428. Ignore the fractions. The gap between the notes will be 219 points. So the positioning will be like this. When we record the patterns in the other tracks, there can be 16th notes or 30-second notes as well. So it would be easy if you create the position charts with those note values as well. This is a chart with 16th note included. This will be useful to position the notes in the other tracks. But in this track we only have 8 notes. Now positioning the notes. It is a 7/8 now. Let us close this page and create the drum track pattern. The first note is at the end of the bar now. Let's bring it back to the beginning. Now the 7/8 is also ready. Let us set the tempo for this variation in the master track. I am setting it to 137. This is a calculation used for arriving at this value. Let's preview it now. Now we have 4/4, 3/4 and 7/8 here. Let's create a 5/8 as well in variation 4. Going to variation 4, selecting the percussion track. Insert 5 hi-hat notes. That is ready. Going to the event edit page. The gap between the notes now should be 307. Positioning the notes with this chart. Let us close this page and create the drum track pattern. Setting the tempo to 192. Let's preview it. All 4 variations have different time signatures now. Now let's save the style and exit. Now I'm playing the style. The tempo value is different in each element. When we come back to variation 1 or stop the style, it would be back to 120. There will be a question, what will happen if we change the tempo now? We can actually change it, and the elements with the tempo change events will adjust the tempo based on the newly set tempo. Let's play the style with a different tempo. Now the tempo and the other elements are getting up. Now one thing to note here is avoid changing the tempo while an element with a tempo change event is playing. That will mess up the entire tempo setting. We have created this style with a 4/4 time as the original time signature. But you can do it with any time signatures. I'll show you 2 other styles which I created. One with 3/4 as the original time signature and the other with 7/8. The note gap and the tempo calculations will be different based on the original time signature of the style. This is the one with 3/4 as the original time signature. It has some tabla patterns too, and I have created some fill-ins also. This is the settings for the other elements where 34 is the original time signature. The total length of the bar will be 1152, which is 384 into 3. This one is created with 78 as the original signature. This style has a 7/8 time signature originally, so the calculation of the total length of the bar has a small difference from the previous styles. 7/8 means there are 7 half notes in the bar. We know that one full note is 384 points, so a half note will be 192 points. Here the beat 2 will start after 192 points. So to calculate the total length of the pattern, we need to multiply 192 with 7 and it will be 1344. Calculate the gap between the notes in the other elements based on this. This is how you can create different time signatures and tempo values in different elements in the same style. That's all for this video. I hope it was useful. The next video will be about some of the settings in the style create mode which we skipped earlier. Thank you.